Welcome back. Surinamese Ambassador Manorma Suknandan says the seizure of the MV Chandra 1 was not an act of aggression on the part of her government, but in keeping its maritime legislation. However, this has been disputed by President Barry Jagdeo, who in an earlier press conference stated that Suriname is trying to impose sovereignty unilaterally over the Corentyne River. More in this report.
On October 13, the Guyanese-registered MV Lady Chandra 1, along with its 7-member crew, was seized by the Surinamese military on the Corentyne River. According to reports, the vessel was on its way to Skeldon when it was pulled in by the authorities, who claimed that the crew was trespassing into Surinamese territory. However, Suriname's Ambassador Manorma Suknandan says the crew was detained for failing to comply with that country's maritime legislation.
About once your vessel, the weight is above 50 gross tonnage, you have to ask for pilot. That did not happen with that specific vessel. It was 375 gross tonnage. That's why it didn't have the papers, it had no pilot, that's why it was detained. And it's not only about a Guyanese vessel, even if it is a Surinamese vessel, if you have the weight above 50, you will be detained because you don't have the things in order.
The ambassador has placed the crew at fault and says she does not see any diplomatic route which can be followed. She says the maritime regulations have always applied, and it is not the first time that Suriname has charted this course with defaulting countries. Ms. Suknandan has also alluded to Suriname's claims over the Corentyne River.
It was no act of aggression. It was the Maritime Authority in Suriname with the police who boarded that vessel. And no military authority in Suriname confiscated or seized any vessel. They don't have the authority to do that. It was the Maritime Authority of Suriname who confiscated the vessel and not the military. So I don't see any act of aggression there.
However, President Barry Jagdeo had stated that Suriname has been trying to impose sovereignty unilaterally over the river, even though Guyana has signaled its willingness to discuss the issue. And while Guyana relies on diplomacy rather than aggression, the president said such actions by Suriname may not provoke the same response all of the time.
Because this river has the characteristic of a border river. And even sovereignty aside, and I still think the question of sovereignty over the river has not been settled, but sovereignty aside, the parties should have full user access to the river.
The head of state dismissed the country's claims that there should be a Surinamese pilot on board Guyanese vessels, stating that Guyana does not recognize Suriname's desire in this regard.
We don't recognize that our ships must have, that use the Corentyne River, must have Surinamese pilots. We don't recognize that. So that's the first point. And I don't see how these people are illegal immigrants if they took them from the ship and escorted them into their territory.
Guyana had dispatched a diplomatic note protesting to the government of Suriname against such actions. However, this was to no avail. In the September 17 arbitral award, the International Tribunal on Law of the Sea had ruled on the maritime dispute between Guyana and Suriname and found that the resort to the use of force by Suriname offended international norms and practices. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Sharda Lal.
The Georgetown Public Hospital is refuting a report in the Kaieteur News claiming a woman lost her sight as a result of eye drops administered by a nurse. According to the hospital, such misrepresentation in the media decreases the morale of its staff. Details from Monica Jones.
The article captioned "Woman Goes Blind After Receiving Eye Drops" indicated that Ms. Kamla Singh lost her sight as a result of eye drops which was administered by a nurse. This is according to a statement from the hospital. The statement says Ms. Singh was diagnosed with muscular disease, a degenerative condition which causes a person to lose their sight. The statement indicated that she was also diagnosed with diabetes. The woman was placed on medication and ordered to visit the clinic for regular checkups. The hospital administration indicated that the woman's visual activity when she first visited the hospital in 2006 was 2100, which can be classified as poor, and that her blindness did not result from the eye drops she received but her deteriorating medical condition. The Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation says it is therefore urging the media fraternity to report on matters in a more responsible manner. The statement from the hospital stated that when information is misrepresented in the media, it tends to decrease the morale of its staff. The statement says nurses usually work tirelessly to ensure that patients receive the necessary and needed treatment. The GPHC says too that matters like these can cause them distress. Onika Jones, the 6 o'clock news.
The European Union says it will make 165 million euros available to help CARIFORUM countries implement the just concluded Economic Partnership Agreement. The funding, according to the EU, will be in the European Development Fund for regional programs. Here are details.
Implementation of the Economic Partnership Agreement has been one of the major concerns of some Caribbean governments, including Guyana and Haiti, who have raised issues that the cost of implementing the new arrangement may be hefty. On October 15 last, when the agreement was inked, President Barra Jagdeo again voiced concerns regarding the EPA implementation costs.
Is that because some of it's very difficult to come up with a number. Could be $1 billion, it could be less, because it's not a straightforward calculation.
The President has also stated in the past that no new funding was made available for the implementation of the trade deal, but principal negotiator of the CARIFORUM EU EPA, Karl Flankenberg, says 165 million euros will be placed in the European Development Fund for regional programs to assist with the implementation process. Flankenberg says the euros will be used to support extensive development on operation provisions linked to each area covered by the EPA, including e-commerce, cultural industries, and trade over the next 5 years. Antigua's Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer, who is also chairman of CARICOM during consultations in that country, referred to the EC's commitment to secure a share of the 2 billion euros set aside for the World Trade Organization Aid for Trade for CARIFORUM countries. Prime Minister Spencer said, recognizing that the traditional pool of the European Development Fund resources available to the region will have to be augmented, and the EC committed to make available an equitable share of the 2 billion euros set aside for aid for trade. He added that the signing of the EPA has paved the way for engaging the EC in respect of access to those funds. Meanwhile, European Commission officials in Guyana have confirmed that and said already this is being streamlined. A senior official from the Georgetown office said they are communicating with Brussels and will be able to release more information on the trade funding early next week. On October 15 last, 12 CARICOM states and the Dominican Republic signed a full trade deal with Europe. Ghana later signed a deal on October 21 with Haiti as the lone country not to sign, but has committed to sign before month end. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
The Guyana Water Incorporated has removed the service connection to residents in the grassed field squatting area on the east coast of Demerara following vandalism. As a result, residents have tampered with the main, which has now stopped the flow of water to residents in nearby communities. Details from Onika Jones.
According to GWI Public Relations Officer Raul Aaron, residents in the grassed field squatting area were receiving water from standpipes since 2004 free of cost. In an effort to boost their water supply, the residents ran illegal connections which caused others paying for the service to receive low water pressure.
Residents of the area, the squatting area, reported to the Guyana Water Incorporated that residents in the area, in the same area, are restricting the use of the standpipes and preventing residents in that area from using the actual standpipes. So what we have done, on Tuesday we went into the area and we have removed the service connections from the standpipes, and we have removed all of the illegal connections also that has been placed on those lines, rendering that area out of water.
After the company disconnected the supply, residents began tampering with the system and broke the main. The public relations officer says water will not be restored to the squatters unless they began paying for the service.
After the water supply was removed on Tuesday, residents of the area proceeded to break one of the mains to get water, and this disruption to our service, this disrupted the service to other areas like Fowles. They were not able to get water because of the broken main. So we had to shut that off also until we can have it properly fixed and repaired.
However, water will soon be restored to those paying customers who are affected by the damaged main. The public relations officer says the company will continue to take strong action against persons who vandalize their property. Onika Jones, the 6 o'clock news.